Another edition
Wonderful.
of Riding Home here on Dog Post. Ryan Curley jumping in there pretty quick. Ryan, it's the headline here is that it looks like JT is still trying to figure out how to get back to playing, and we're going to talk about that and a lot of other stuff. But Kirby was, this is number one Georgia team. It's not the first time they've been number one. It's the first time they've been the consensus number one with AP and the coaches and it being unanimous with the coaches and all this stuff. But you're coming into another game here where it's possible that the starting quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs might not play. What did you take from today?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it sounded like he's not ready.
Right.
You're only throwing 30 or 40 balls in practice. That's not a lot. And he said he's only getting about 30 yards
That's
as
what
far
I
as how
thought he
deep he's
said.
throwing.
Yeah, that's what I
That
thought he
to
said.
me,
Yeah.
that doesn't sound very good.
Right.
As far as you know, and I've heard some things about his status and everything, and how his back's feeling, and everything's pointing towards he's not going to play against Kentucky, and I think that's what we should be preparing for. I'm not a doctor, so I can't say that he's not going to be ready by Saturday, but it sounded like he's not, and Stetson Bennett, I think, is more than capable of getting the job done and getting a win. And obviously, we're going to talk about that as the week goes on. But yeah, that's the big takeaway is Kirby was pretty open in admitting that JT is not ready to play.
Well, and of course he didn't use those terms, and I think
He
the
did it, but that's what he said. I mean,
yeah.
just read between the lines. JT's not 100%,
Oh
and I
no,
don't think
he's
they
not.
want to
I
play.
mean, my
And this, here, let me just say this one thing real quick. For someone who's been so injury prone over the last 3 years, I don't really want to stick him out there unless I feel confident he's not just going to get hurt again.
yeah. So
If
here
he's not,
here's
if he's not
yeah, but you
100%.
got to play. See,
But you got to
that's
play
the
him. That's the
problem.
problem. That's the problem that they're going to have.
He has to play. I mean, I think at some stage. Well, JT Daniels has never had an issue with confidence, but he's got to play, and you don't want to be rusty. You don't want to go to Jacksonville and you're the starting quarterback. All of a sudden, you haven't played in a month, and just roll the ball out there and see what happens. Now, I'm not that dumb or naive. I know how this is going. I mean, Ron Corson, who is this director of sports medicine over at Georgia, that might be the wrong term, but that's essentially what he does. Uh, he's no dummy, and he's very meticulous. And this is going to be a situation where if JT is ready to go, he's going to go. And until that time, he's not going to play. And it looks like he's probably not going to play against Kentucky this week, but we're just going to have to see. Now with that said, okay, go ahead. You got something. It looks like you got to say.
I think it's kind of funny because every time someone has a question about the injuries, he's like, that's a question for Ron Corson. Well, maybe we should try to talk to Ron. Yeah, why
Yeah,
don't you give us Ron on a Tuesday
we,
night Zoom?
we we have had Ron Corson in the 20 years I've covered Georgia. I believe we've had Ron once for sure about Colton Houston and some irregularities that and some dispute he had with the NCAA. And I don't think any other time that I can recall. So they're not going to be rolling Ron Corson up there.
Yeah, why don't you casually bring him out with Dan Jackson and Lewis Seen and let us ask him some questions?
Well, and I was the one that asked Lewis tonight, do you think
Yeah,
JT is frustrated? And I'm glad that Lewis quite easily took my softball and took it from there. I'm sure he's frustrated, but that's the other thing, is and I do not think that this is becoming a thing where Stetson's going to take over. It doesn't seem like it to me, at least.
I don't think so either.
So okay, but with that said, it has got to be frustrating for JT Daniels. Number one, number two, I do just because I'm the way that I am, you get concerned that he'll try to make it all up in one game. Now, he he's come off the bench for lack of a better term and had some really nice games having not played at all. So I'll check myself immediately right there by saying that. But if this Georgia team is going to get to its full potential, then it's going to need all of these guys who are banged up to play. That's all there is to it. And I'm going to throw it to you here after I read this. Looks like Amir Speed is not going to be back. It looks like Dominic Blaylock is not going to be back. I missed someone else in there. It looks like Jermaine Burton will probably be back. It looks like Jamar.
It sounded to me like Rosemy would be back too.
That's who it was that I missed.
Yeah.
And then Sawyer is probably going to be back. So, and Tyke Smith has been getting back. So they're getting there, but it's not the full deck. But they seem to be doing okay nonetheless, Ryan.
I mean, they're the number one team, and it's clear they're the number one team. And I don't
I think so.
So far it's not particularly close, and they're doing it with the banged up roster. For now that's okay. Eventually down the line it might not be. We don't know what they're going to be getting into, and we don't know who they're going to play in the SEC championship game. That's not for certain.
Are you really? I mean, okay. So let's explore that for a second.
It's not certain yet. I mean, that's still
no. We don't know. We don't know that Georgia's going to play in the SEC championship.
We don't, because if Kentucky beats them, Kentucky's running the East. I mean,
if Kentucky beats them, I'm not sure how someone other than Kentucky plays for the SEC championship. I mean, Kentucky's still got to deal with Tennessee, but there's not a lot of losses left out there for Kentucky after this game. I mean,
no.
they listen. This could be an all-time great season with a loss to Georgia for Kentucky. They've beaten LSU. They've beaten the Gators. I mean, they dug it out against Missouri. They dug it out against Carolina. I mean, by my math, they only have a few more games left. Now, they could lose to State, but I don't think so. And they could lose to Tennessee. They're probably more likely to lose to State. But if you're Georgia, and you drop this game, I mean, look, they should not lose this game. All right, I'm not even going to go down this path. They're the better team, injuries or not. Dude, listen, do you know the only stadium in the Southeastern Conference that has had sellout the entire season? It's Georgia. That's it. So, they're playing in Athens. It's one of the last times they play in Athens this year. I mean, there's only 2 games left in Athens after this game, and one of them's Charleston Southern. So this is the marquee game of the season, period, it looks like, which I would have never thought I would say. But as the season goes on, Ryan, games get bigger, and right now Kentucky's who's in front of Georgia, and vice versa.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, we weren't looking at this game as, College Game Day is going to show up here again. Let alone twice in 3 weeks. 3 times in 7 weeks that Georgia's been featured on College Game Day, starting out against Clemson. It is a huge season, and they're doing it with this banged up roster, and I mean, I don't really know what else to say at this point. We talk about the injuries every week. They're beating teams with who's out there. I mean, there's nothing else they can do about that.
Obviously, the defense.
Obviously, you want them to come back.
The defense has not been banged up, though. I mean, the defense has been banged up a little bit.
We haven't even seen Tyke Smith in a Georgia Bulldogs jersey. So it's not like they were missing Tyke Smith and we know what's there for him. We have no idea how he's going to play in a Georgia Bulldog uniform. We know he's a talented player, but I mean, Chris Smith's injury, it sounds like he's kind of up in the air for this week.
Yeah, man, but then they just roll Dan Jackson, who's like from the hills of North Georgia. I mean, like, what is this?
I know. He comes in, he get 6 tackles, and and then a couple weeks ago the punt block. I mean, they're loaded on both sides. They're loaded everywhere.
Well, but they're not. It's not. I mean, like Dan Jackson makes you think of Stetson Bennett, makes you think of Ladd McConkey, makes you think of I don't even know, but like, Ladd McConkey's like people say, he works really hard.
No, he's just good.
I have no idea. He's just really good. I mean, I think that's a lot of it too. And Stetson. Everybody, I do wonder, man. I wonder how many people have 4 wins over ranked teams as a starting quarterback. Because Stetson has that. And he also, and 2 of those were top 10 wins.
Currently in college football?
Yeah. It can't be a lot of people. It can't be. I mean, I don't know.
Actually, he might be the only one.
Well, JT has at least 2. Plus the Mizzou game, so that would be 3. Yeah,
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Well, I can't. It's. I mean, starting quarterback. It's not at Alabama. Maybe Spencer Rattler, who may or may not be the starter at Oklahoma next year. And it's not to say, people
or next week.
Yeah, I said next year, didn't I?
Yeah.
People. I don't. Stetson's work speaks for itself, but it's not just Stetson, and it's not just this, or it's not just that. It's that when Tate Ratledge went out, you had Warren Erickson. It's when Jamari got hurt, you had Broderick to roll in there. It's when Chris Smith, well, when Tyke Smith, a third string All American, couldn't go, you had Travis Brini to begin with. You know, Chris Smith, someone who nobody thought about in any way. I know I see your mannerisms. They didn't. And the question that I had, Ryan, about the, now I've already deleted it, but about the captains, all those guys, there was like 14 different captains. None of them are lower than juniors. I mean, it's Fitzpatrick and Zamir. James Cook's been on there twice. Jamari's been on there twice. Here are the Braves. Let's see if they get a double play. No, they're going to get a run in. But it's every.
What's the score?
They're down 4-3 in the fifth. This is shaping up to be a heck of a game. I'm certain the Braves will figure out how to
I'll flick it on after
crush dreams here at some point. But this is an older group. Channing Tindall has been a captain. It's just Jake Camarda. These guys are all in green, which means they're in their fourth or fifth year plying at Georgia. Obviously,
Look, this goes back to something we said on Saturday night after we dropped off Matt. The machine is built.
Oh yeah.
You know, the machine is built, and it shows. And when someone goes down, you come in, and there's almost no difference.
Yeah, it's so sacrilegious to talk like that. But now, shifting towards what you're going to have to deal with Kentucky, it's not going to be a fun game for Georgia. I'm just telling you. I mean, I know I keep saying
tough.
that.
They're tough.
They are not a lot of fun to deal with.
Physical is the word that everyone's using to describe them, and that's that's fair.
I just Ledbetter played there in 18, and that's a turf field at Commonwealth, and that game was it did not sound like a lot of fun out there. And they won the game kind of going away, I guess. And they were clearly the better team. But with Kentucky, they are going to try to wrestle you and punch you in your stomach and all this stuff. There's stuff that they're going to do that's just not fun. And you'd better be ready to play from the get-go. And now Kentucky, they should not win this game. And judging from their performances this season, they won't. But it's not going to be fun to get this win. I'm just telling you, it's not going to be fun.
Auburn was a physical game. I think,
Not
even though
like
it was
this,
a blow,
this game's going to be
even though it was a blowout,
not
Arkansas
fun.
was physical. I think they're going to be ready. I think one of their main concerns, and you can't completely control it, is coming out healthy. Not coming out with even more injuries. Yeah, Georgia.
And two, Kentucky's lost two of their. I mean, this is just not a great situation for the Cats. You're playing on the road. You've lost now a couple of.
The attention, all eyes are on Georgia right now. The attention is here. College Game Day and SEC Nation are coming here the same week. That doesn't happen a lot.
No, it's happened three times ever.
Yeah, so all eyes are going to be on this game. It's the CBS game, and it's Kentucky big enough for the moment.
Well, this is a Kentucky team that in recent memory has beaten the Gators twice, has just beat LSU, have beaten Penn State. I mean, they're not the moment thing. Maybe I don't want to mischaracterize that too much. I just think they're not as good as Georgia, and that's it. And I don't mean it with disrespect at all. They're not, and that doesn't mean you can't win. It just means that you're just not as gifted. So that's okay. Here come the Braves tying the game. I just know that there are some times when you play that, to get the W, you're going to do stuff that just ain't a lot of fun. Like there might not be a lot of space in this game. And you might have to be okay with slamming the ball in the middle a few times.
You think it's going to be like that? You think it's going to be a trenches kind of game? Where,
totally. I don't
do you think
know.
Kirby wants to run it down their throat?
I think they will. I think Kentucky. Let me just look up their statistical situation here. I mean, I was checking out the Southeastern Conference's notes, which I don't always do, I will admit. But I just know Kentucky to be honest. I mean, I think I missed the Kentucky Georgia game once since 2000, which was the 2000 game, and it's just they are not the way they used to be at all, and they are going to fight you. And Mark Stoops has done a great job up there, and they're just not fun to deal with. Like this is not going to be this is going to be UAB and Arkansas on steroids. It's going to be a lot of fighting. Now, I don't have any doubt about who will win, but and a lot of that is that Kentucky. The problem, and they just don't look great when they played this season. But like UK is going for 214 on the ground. Their rushing defense, they've allowed 111 this season, man. They're 28th in the country. They are basically Georgia without the skill players. And now they have some of those. The biggest concern, okay, I got a lot of Kentucky friends. The biggest concern in watching Kentucky is they turn the ball over too much, man. They got like 8 turnovers, like they're -8, something like that. They are near the bottom of the country in turnover margin. You are going to lose. They cannot turn the ball over, and they probably will because it's in their nature. But I'm just saying they are a tough physical team. They're the number 19 team in the country in scoring defense. They're the number 28 in rushing defense. They're just really solid everywhere, but they're not. They're just not. They don't quite. They're not. They're playing on the road, and they're not quite what the Dogs are. So that's all. These guys are either going to play in the sugar if they do what they're supposed to do. They're either going to play in the Sugar Bowl or Atlanta in the Peach Bowl, and I think it'll probably be Atlanta at the end of the day. I'm just saying, whether the crowd can feel it or see it or not, this is going to be the same basic fight that LSU and Florida are going to have this week. These guys, this is not Vanderbilt. This is not Kentucky from the early 2000s. This is the particular Kentucky team now, and they're not fun.
I mean, do you think they're going to come in and put up big numbers on
No.
Georgia?
No. I think Georgia's very possibly going to cover the spread. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I was about to. That was my next question was, how do you feel about that line?
I think it's about right. Like, man, it's tough to play at Georgia these days. This isn't like when I was at school at Georgia, when it was a joke.
This is becoming one of the places to play.
It's tough to play there, and it's
the places that you don't want to play.
Yeah, rather. I mean, and I mean, they did that with Arkansas. Like, can you only imagine? It's
at noon. At noon.
This is gonna be
that's crazy.
It's gonna be a live crowd. The students are doing their job, believe me, and the Georgia people can smell the blood in the water now. But this is gonna be one of their tougher games. I mean, if you're playing for a national championship, Ryan, you got 15 games coming from the SEC unless you're Alabama and you only play 14. So this is going to be a tough. This is going to be a tough run, but you're only 6 games into it, man. You're not even halfway there. So, and they got to get through this hurdle, and then they can start worrying about Jacksonville and hand wringing amongst the fan base. But you know, this Kentucky team, they needed a week off after this game. It's just
they do. If there's a game where they need a week off after, it's going to be this one.
I mean, they play Auburn. They play Arkansas, Auburn, and Kentucky back to back. Not fun.
Back to back. No. And all high attention. They're going to need a mental and a physical break with the bye week before they go down to Jacksonville. Anything can happen down to Jacksonville. It's one of those kind of rivalry games. They need to go down their focus and they need to get through all this. After they get through this, I think they're in pretty good shape as long as they take care of business. But, it's just getting to the point. Tank Bigsby, I know he wasn't completely healthy. Tank Bigsby, Jarquez Hunter, Shivers, that's a really good running back group. Auburn's a physical team. They shut that down besides that one little touchdown.
It's going to be hard to score run against Georgia.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to run. And it's not particularly easy to pass.
They're allowing 5 points a game. Okay?
It's ridiculous.
Kentucky's averaging about 30. That's going to be tough to deal with. Listen, we'll see you over the website, dogpost.com. Thanks for watching.